Does this thing still work? I accidentally dropped it on the floor. That's what you should never do to a camera. Hello, the Astro 30 here. Recently I uploaded a video asking a simple question as to why this operational amplifier circuit won't work. And just to recap, see if you can work out the problem with this circuit. We have a inverting OpAmp amplifier circuit with a 10k feedback resistor. Looks all very well and good. We have an input of 1 volt and an output of 0 volt. Why? So I actually did get a response to this video. It's only been up for 4 days. It has 55 views with 3 comments. Now that might not sound like a lot, but to me that is kind of overwhelming. It just goes to show that the community engagement experiment that I just tried did actually achieve what I was attempting to do, which was to engage you, the audience, to answer a brain teaser, we'll call it. This may also help people that don't fully understand how an inverting operational amplifier circuit works and why this particular circuit doesn't work. I already know the answer, and here's my answer here. And here's the answer. Why doesn't this circuit work? Well, the simple reason is we're missing an input resistor. In the non-inverting OpAmp stage, we need an input resistor always, and the usual resistance value is around about 10k. So now with our input resistor we have positive 1 volt going in. We now have a gain of 1 or unity, so we will have -1 out. However, why will this not work without the input resistor? Well, it's simple. There are 2 rules to an op-amp, which you only ever really need to remember. Number 1, no current flows in or out of the inputs. And the most important one is, rule 2, it tries to make both inputs the same. This input, the non-inverting input, is grounded. Therefore, the op-amp tries to make this inverting input also ground. This input in this configuration is known as a virtual ground. Therefore, you get no output, regardless of the supply rail arrangement. You get no output because it's basically bringing this voltage to ground potential. Therefore, you have no output. And with that said, now I'm going to read out your comments on camera from the comment feed on that particular first video asking the question. Bogdan Grigor, I hope I pronounced your name correctly, said, it's because of the feedback resistor network. Should be another resistor on the input to set the gain correctly. You're absolutely correct. The way I had the circuit drawn, I effectively had a 0 ohm resistance on the input resistor. Now remember, for inverting op-amps, the gain formula is RF divided by RN equals minus gain. With no input resistor, you've effectively got 0 ohms there. Therefore, you're dividing the 10k by 0, which gives you 0 because you cannot divide by 0. That net results in a 0 volt output. Guy Wizardlist says, output saturated at 0 volt rail, assuming single supply. Also no input resistor. So even with plus VE and minus VE rails, the output may not be able to equalize the 2 inputs unless the source resistance of the 1 volt signal was high enough. Yes, you're absolutely right. However, I didn't actually stipulate what the supply rails were, and for this sort of thought experiment, it's not really relevant. But if it was assuming a single supply and the voltage was saturated at 0 volt, you may be correct. But yes, the answer is there is no input resistor. Nathan Shaw says, okay, my guess is because 10k divided by 0 equals error. Now, what do I win? You, sir, win the internet. Or a cookie, your choice. I don't have either to give you, but you're absolutely right. You cannot have an input resistance of 0 ohms in an inverting amplifier and expect it to output a voltage. That's just not how they work. And I will link down below a video tutorial that Dave Jones from EEV blog, and he goes through the inverting op-amp stage and the reason why it won't work. And if you'd like to follow me on Facebook and support me on Patreon, the links are in the description as usual. Anyway, this is the Astro 30 saying thanks for the feedback, signing off. And no, that was not a pun, but it sounded like one, and I just realised that before I turned the camera off. That was epic.